Hey you guys, good morning! Welcome to our mini lesson of the day, 7.21. Oh my gosh, we're already at the 21st lesson of Unit 7! Our aim today is how do we group special binomials to factor them like polynomials. I will show you exactly what I mean by this. Let's go get started. Okay, we're going to be looking at these types of special binomials today. I'm going to show you just why they're special. Because I don't have a term with a variable just x, that means that my coefficient for that term is actually 0. So I can rewrite this polynomial with my 0 coefficient in the middle, which I will rewrite as x squared plus 0x These two things are the same, right? This is a simplified version of this. But when I rewrite my polynomial like this, I can think about my airplane number that we learned about in a different way. So remember, our airplane number is the leading coefficient, 1, multiplied by negative 16. So my airplane number is negative 16. Well, when I'm thinking about my factor pairs here to try and rewrite this binomial, just like how I would with a polynomial, I'm now thinking of what two numbers multiply to negative 16 and add to 0. Those numbers are always going to be inverses. What I mean by that is I should have two numbers that multiply to 16, and when I add them, I get 0. Looking at this polynomial with my 0 in the term in the middle, I do the same thing that I would have done to factor a normal polynomial. So I would take my airplane number, which we know is multiplying my coefficient of 1 by negative 16, which gives me negative 16. Now, my next step is to list factors that multiply to negative 16. But, guys, remember, I'm also thinking of what two things add to my middle term. My middle term is now 0, which means I'm looking for a very special factor pair that adds to 0. There's only a few things that add to 0 that also multiply to 16. And they're always going to be inverses of one another. So here, when I think of two numbers that multiply to 16, just like I would with my normal polynomials that we've been factoring, I have to find two numbers that are factors of negative 16 and add to 0. These two numbers are a very special type of a factor pair. Here, my two numbers that multiply to 16 and add to 0 are 4 and negative 4. I want you to notice here that every time I have a 0 as my coefficient for my x term, my factor that I'm looking for is always going to be the same number, but one is positive and one is negative. That way, when I add them together, I get 0. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. So there I have identified correctly my very special factor pair. I'm going to use it to rewrite my polynomial. I've taken my special factor pair and I've used it to rewrite my middle term. My middle term was originally 0x, but now I can rewrite 0x as negative 4x plus 4x. We're going to go over one more example of just setting up. I'm not going to completely factor this next example. I'm just going to go over the new part of our steps that we're learning today. Example of one of our special binomials. So my first step is going to be rewriting my middle term as 0. So I have 2x squared plus 0x minus 8. My second step is going to be finding my airplane number. My airplane number again is my first coefficient multiplied by my last coefficient, giving me 2 times negative 8, which is negative 16. Now I'm finding my special factor pair. Remember, these are two numbers that multiply to negative 16, and add to 0. Well, I know that it's going to have to be one of my special factor pairs where I have the same number, but one is positive and one is negative. So I'm looking for that square number to go with 16, and I know that 4 times 4 is 16, so I'm going to make this 4, I'm going to make this negative 4, and then here I check my work by knowing that 4 and negative 4 add to 0. Last step is going to be to write this. I'm rewriting 0 as 4x minus 4x. So I have 2x squared plus 4x minus 4x, and I still have my minus 8 at the end. So my final, that doesn't look like a very good plus sign. So my final answer is 2x squared plus 4x minus 4x minus 8. Okay, let's move on to our check for understanding and notes.